What's going on, guys? Mr. Domo here, back again, and like I promised, I was gonna do that comparison video for you guys, and I'm comparing these two guys right here on the right. These are the Disney Star Wars Star Tours figures, PVC figures, and compare them to these guys right here, the Comet Spain Droids PVC figures. So I'm gonna get right into it, and of course, if this is your first time checking out the channel or checking out this video, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and then share. It really helps me provide content for you guys, and of course it helps the channel out. So I'm gonna get right into it, and I'm gonna start off with these guys right here, the Disney Star Wars Star Tours figures here. Now these are PVC figures, and I'm going to show you the label here. So I'm going to start off with C3PO here. So here we have C3PO, and let me show you the label here. So let's get a good angle there. There you go. So this is a 1986 Disney Star Wars Star Tours PVC figure, C3PO, and this one was graded by Collector Archive Services, and it received an 85 plus, so really good score. Now with this guy right here, now going with the Disney PVC figures, they do have the date stamp of 1986, but they weren't officially released at Disney theme parks until 1990. Now this guy right here, I'm gonna bring up a photo here. This guy officially released in two different colors. The original color, or the first release, actually came in this kind of like dookie, kind of copper color, and then later on, I want to say probably in 1990, they repainted him and gave him more of a darker gold color. Now the big difference about these guys right here, comparing them to the Comet Spain, is that these guys are smaller, of course, and the C3PO does not have green eyes. He actually has silver eyes, and he actually has some silver paint. The Comet Spain over here does not have any silver paint on him, and of course the biggest noticeable difference between them is the eyes, and the Comet Spain actually has green eyes. So there was two, actually, like I said, two releases, two different variants, I guess you could say, where you have this dookie kind of brown, dark brown color, and then they released it later on with a more gold color, and those were pretty much the only two that they released. They never really did any more variants. Now when it comes to actual variants, those are really the only two that I've noticed with the actual C3PO Disney Star Wars Star Tours PVC figure. So that is him right there. Now the next one, his buddy here, the R2-D2, of course, let me show you the label here. So this one's a little bit different. This is dated as a 1990 Disney Star Wars Star Tours PVC figure, and this is R2-D2. He also received an 85 score, so really good. And like I said, the first batch, I would say, like the first release, did all have the stamp date of 1986, but then later on they changed it and they gave them the actual the release date of 1990. So this guy was actually, I want to say, like the second release. R2-D2 doesn't have any changes. Pretty much they stuck with the same paint app and of course the mold and everything like that, as you can see right here. They didn't change anything. So if I actually had a 1986 date stamp of R2-D2 of the Disney version, it would really just look the same. They didn't do anything like that. One thing about these guys is they do have a made in China country of origin. This guy also has a made in China country of origin right there. So when it comes to these guys right here, like I said, C3PO did come with two changes. I mean, two variants, I guess. He first came with this kind of dark copper color, and then later on they gave him an actual gold color. R2-D2, they didn't really do anything. They just kept him the way he is, and like I said, there's probably one with the 1986 stamp, and then of course this one was the 1990. But like I said, this guy was the first batch, and he actually got the 1986, but they didn't officially release at theme parks until 1990. So that's where they came. So technically, yes, these guys right here came out first because they are date stamped at 1986, and they did release in 1986. These guys right here, like I said, did release in 1990. So these guys, the Comet Spain, did release first. Now the comparison with these two right here with the R2-D2 is that, one, the size. The Comet Spains are always bigger than your Disney ones. Another one, the biggest change that you could see, obviously this one's, it's not as white as the Disney one, but as you can see right there, the top eye, you could tell that the Comet Spain always has it yellow, and compared to the Disney, everything else is red. So even the panels will be red. There's no other colors other than red, blue, white, and then of course silver. With the Comic Spain, they actually have different colors. They do have the yellow right there on the top eye, and then they do have a green panel, and then they do have another yellow eye right there, or whatever you want to call that, on the dome. Those are pretty much how you could really tell the difference between these R2-D2s, is just size, and then of course look for that yellow eye, and that's how it is. And like I said, there's no changes, no variants to the Disney one. This is pretty much what they stuck to, and that's all they had. So those are the two Disneys right there. And of course, Disney did come out with other figures, like there was a Yoda, a Stormtrooper, I want to say there was a Darth Vader, and so forth, and Chewbacca. So they did do other figures. Now I don't know where they got the inspiration for them. I mean, they kind of look like droids. I mean, obviously these right here from Comic Spain were very inspired by droids. Here, I don't know if they went ahead and copied these guys, and then the other figures just kind of, it's very interesting. I don't know the color scheme and where they actually got the inspiration for the Disney Star Wars Star Tours. I'm guessing, I mean, the Star Tours ride, if you ever did ride it, I mean, there's no Yoda, there's no, I think there's a Stormtrooper maybe, but I don't think there's Chewbacca or anything like that. I'm not really sure. It's been so long since I've been on that ride. So really, it's hard to tell where Disney actually got the inspiration for these PVC figures. Now, the Comic Spain obviously got the inspiration from Droids, so that's why the color scheme mirrors off from the cartoon series Droids. And then also they did have Ewoks, so they did, that was also inspired by Ewoks, the cartoon series. So all of these, the company Comic Spain really got all their inspiration from the two cartoon series, Droids, and then of course Ewoks. So starting with C-3PO here. So this guy right here does have two different variants, just like the Disney counterpart. He first did come out just like this. This is how he originally came out with the Droids color scheme. One big noticeable difference between obviously the Disney is that he is in, the paint app is inspired by Droids. He doesn't have any silver paint at all. And then of course the biggest one is the green eyes. So if you even look at the back here, there is no silver paint at all. Disney, if you see something out there in the market that has silver, it's 100% Disney. If you see something like this where it's got that, the Droids color scheme, then it's pretty much a Comic Spain. Now there are two main variants or official releases of the Comic Spain C-3PO. You do have one with this Droids color like I was talking about, and then they later on released one with just a straight gold color. I don't know why they did that, but they did have a pretty much like this color scheme, and then they did a pure kind of gold color. Now of course with these guys right here, which is interesting, is that they do have a date stamp also of 1986, but they really officially did release in 1986, and of course they do have Lucasfilms on them. There is no country of origin at all. Some of them might have the, I think this one does. I want to see if he actually has it. Yeah, so here R2-D2 actually does have the company's stamp, so it does say Comics Spain right there, as you can see. Hopefully you guys can see that. C-3PO doesn't really have it. I don't know if there was just no spot to actually put it on, but he does have the Lucasfilm, which is a big indicator that this is actually a Comic Spain. And of course he has the date stamp of 1986. So two official releases on this guy. Like I said, he's got the inspired Droids color scheme, and then of course they did a pure gold color scheme. Now they are different variants when it comes to this guys, and I'll show you that in a minute here. There are kind of factory paint errors that are out there, so I guess you could say that they are different variants. There's some where he's pretty much unpainted, like he's just pure yellow. There's no hint of gold or blue or anything like that. There are some where he's got like this weird kind of like blacked out eye shadow kind of going on the face. There's a lot of paint errors out there. And I want to say there's another one where I think the back right here where these two straps or the two wires are painted gold. There's somewhere like it's just all blue, like they didn't give it any gold colors right there at the waistline. So very interesting. Now, of course, well, I'll get into that, but they are German and Polish bootlegs that pretty much copied these guys right here. They didn't copy these guys. They pretty much copied the comic Spain, and I'll show you pictures of that in a minute. But let me go over R2-D2 here. So R2-D2, like I said, he is bigger, and of course I already showed you that he does have the comic Spain stamp, and of course he does have, I want to say he does have the 1986, and then of course Lucasfilm stamp on it. Now, of course, with this guy right here, there are two kind of, really, it's more of an error than an actual official release, but mainly this is your normal, pretty much your normal figure, how it's released. I guess there is another one where it was more of a paint app error, and that had to do with these two little panels right here. See how it's separated by some blue paint? There is one where it's pretty much all painted silver right there in the middle, so it looks like one silver panel. Another one too, on that same variant, it's on the side right here where you see that silver paint right there on the panel. It actually goes all the way down instead of like stopping right there. It actually goes all the way down to the leg, and another one that goes all the way down to the leg. Those are pretty much the two. Not a really official variant, not like, you know, this guy right here where he actually had two variants. This one was more of a paint error, but any other that I have not noticed any different paint apps on this guy right here when it comes to the comic Spain, you know, Star Wars droids figures. So pretty interesting. Now going to the bootlegs. Okay, so obviously there are bootlegs of these guys right here, so pretty much a bootleg of a bootleg, and those are your German and Polish bootlegs. I do have one, a Polish one, which is pretty much the same kind of mold. It's a little bit bigger, I have noticed. The paint is not as great, but there is a Polish one that kind of mirrors this droid's color. Now, the one that I did pull up is one where the R2-D2 unit is pretty much all like silver, which is a pretty badass looking one. And then of course you do have a Polish or slash German bootleg of, you know, C-3PO, which is like the gold color, and then they have like one that's like all teal. It's really, really crazy, but there are many kind of like Polish slash German bootlegs out there, and the problem is it's kind of hard to find records of them or even references because they rarely come up, so they're kind of somewhat rare. The teal one, I rarely get to see that one. I have not seen a whole full silver kind of R2-D2. I have seen a gold one, but I haven't seen a whole silver one and stuff like that. So those are like the really biggest things right there when it comes to these guys right here. Like I said, you got the Polish slash German bootlegs of the R2-D2 and the C-3PO from Comic Spain, and then of course after Comic Spain you have the Disney figures here, which released officially in 1990. These guys officially released in 1986, and then bootlegs kind of like, they're kind of mixed. They're like in the 80s. There's not really a pinpoint date when they got it released, so you have some like 80s or some 90s bootlegs, you know, Poland or German bootlegs of these guys right here. But like I said, man, these guys could get confusing. Like when I started doing some research, I totally got confused about who's who and what because when you look at both of them, you would think that the same person made these two figures, but it's not. It's totally not. It is so interesting that Disney made these guys later on. You know, like I said, they were date stamped 1986, but they got pushed over to 1990. That's when they officially released. These guys were made in 1986 and officially released in 1986. Biggest difference, size, and of course the color app, you know what I'm saying, just the paint on these figures, and of course like the day stamps and stuff like that. That's how you could tell. So if you're out there in the market looking for these guys, that's what I would tell you right there. Look at the paint and then look at the stamp, and then that'll definitely let you know. Like I said, these guys right here, like if they have the made in China country of origin, it's a Disney. If it doesn't and it has you know, Lucasfilm, it's pretty much a what's it called, a comics Bane. And if it doesn't have any of that and it looks super funky, it's probably a bootleg of these guys right here. But that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to share that, just a quick reference about these two right here, the Disney Star Wars Star Tours figures, and of course the comics Bane figures right there from Droids. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching, thank you for the support, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.